Whatsoever, whether great or small, ugly or handsome, sweet or stinking, everything in the universe in their own nature appears beautiful to me. John Bartram, 1740.
A unique cultural landscape on the banks of the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia, Bartram's Garden is best known as the home, farm, and garden of John Bartram, America's first naturalist, botanist, and plant explorer. John Bartram, inspired by nature and his love of plants, dedicated his life to the better understanding of the world around him and shared his knowledge with his neighbors and friends, as well as an international community of scientists, botanists, and curious plant collectors.
The Bartram family cultivated the garden and farmlands, establishing one of the country's first and largest commercial nurseries by 1850. In the years that followed, an extraordinary chain of stewardship grew and continues today in a partnership between the John Bartram Association and the City of Philadelphia. The preservation of the garden is the primary mission of the stewards, and through the years, important steps have been taken to protect the historic buildings and enhance the Bartram's singular garden for the benefit of future generations. Bartram's Garden is one of only a handful of identified prehistoric locations in Philadelphia. Archaeological evidence has been found that the garden was occupied seasonally by Native Americans as early as 3000 BC.
John Bartram, America's first botanist, was endlessly curious about the natural world. He wanted to learn everything about the world around him. He truly believed that all living things were beautiful in their own right. His explorations of wild American landscapes were deeply influential to Europeans who were hungry for any and all information about the New World.
Beginning in 1648, a 1,000-acre land that included Bartram's Garden was settled as an outpost on a New Sweden colony on the Schuylkill River. This land, known as Aranamek, was eventually divided along natural boundaries and creek valleys, and further small clearings developed in the later 17th century, including a piece which became the site of John Bartram's farm and garden.
John Bartram was a third-generation Pennsylvania Quaker born in nearby Darby. Bartram purchased 102 acres from Swedish settlers in 1728 and systematically began gathering the most varied collection of North American plants in the world. A self-taught man, Bartram had the American spirit that continues to inspire us all today.
Bartram founded the American Philosophical Society with his friend Benjamin Franklin. His garden was a source of inquiry and pleasure for people like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. His seed and plant business thrived, and in 1783, Bartram published the first ever nursery catalog in the United States. His international plant trade and nursery business survived him and lived on through his family for 3 generations.
Andrew Eastrick, a wealthy railroad industrialist, preserved the historic garden as a private park on his estate. When he died, the city of Philadelphia took possession of the garden in 1891. Descendants of John Bartram created the John Bartram Association in 1893, and today the site is managed by the association in cooperation with the City of Philadelphia Department of Parks and Recreation.
Today, Bartram's Garden living collections encompass 45 acres of parkland, wildlife habitats, tidal wetlands, and a reclaimed meadow. The historic core is fundamentally a collection of Bartram plants, species collected, grown, and studied by the Bartram family from 1728 to 1850, with a focus on native plants of eastern North America, although a wide range of exotic plants were also under cultivation in each generation.
Along our travels through the garden, we found many different pieces of the garden that were intriguing. One of the first things we found was Bartram's house. The remarkable stone building was originally built in 1731. We also discovered a fish pond near the Bartram house, in which John Bartram grew fragrant water lilies, American lotus, golden club, arrow arum, and many other water plants.
Franklinia Altamaha is the garden's signature tree. It was discovered by John and William Bartram in 1765 in a small grove along the Altamaha River in southern Georgia. William Bartram first brought seed back to the garden in 1777 and named the plant Franklinia in honor of his father's close friend Benjamin Franklin. The plant has not been found in the wild since the early 19th century, but cultivation by the Bartrams has saved the Franklin tree from extinction. All current Franklinia are descended from those grown by the Bartrams.
We also discovered the cider press and mill. The foundation of the mill was carved from bedrock. Apples were crushed in a circular trench by a wooden wheel. The remnants were then collected and pressed between wooden boards to further extract the juice.
Ginkgo biloba is a male tree that is believed to be the oldest ginkgo or maidenhair tree in North America. It was one of the three original ginkgo trees sent to the U.S. from London in 1785 by William Hamilton of the Woodlands. Hamilton gave one ginkgo tree to William Bartram and planted two in the landscape garden at the Woodlands. The trees at the Woodlands were cut down in the 1980s.
Cladrastis canduchia is one of the garden's oldest trees. The yellowwood was discovered in central Tennessee by the French plant explorer André Macau in 1796 and sent to William Bartram at the beginning of the 19th century. The historic yellowwood was heavily damaged during a windstorm in June of 2010, but is growing again and recovered from similar storms in the past.
We found that Bartram's garden hosts the only wetlands on the lower Schuylkill River. This 1.5-acre freshwater wetland provides a habitat for an abundance of wildlife and also improves the water quality.
We found the medical plant display to be very interesting as well. John Bartram was said to have discovered numerous important medicinal plants throughout his lifetime. One of the most important medicinal plants he found was ginseng. While at the garden, we had the opportunity to meet with one of the environmentalists that works there. He was able to provide us with a lot of useful information. One of the neatest things he was able to share with us was a binder, complete with every single plant life available for viewing at Bartram's garden. We were so surprised at the plethora of plants, but we were also disappointed that we were not able to see all of them due to the time of year that we chose to make our visit.
If it were not for this project, we would have had no knowledge of this garden's existence. It was amazing to us to find out that Philadelphia is home to gardens such as these, encompassing so many acres. It is hard to imagine when you are in Center City surrounded by high-rises, cars, and lots of people that there are places such as Bartram's Garden available for us to enjoy the green aspects of life that are not as prevalent in the city atmosphere.
We are so thrilled that we got the opportunity to visit Bartram's Garden. Not only did our trip include important environmental information, but we were also informed of the vast amount of history this garden and the city of Philadelphia contains. We hope to get the opportunity to visit the garden again in the spring when it has more plants in bloom.
We are also looking forward to the potential opportunity of becoming members of either the Bartram's Garden facility or of the Franklin Society. This society is responsible for ensuring the future of Bartram's Garden as a place of curiosity and discovery for generations to come.
Landscapes of great wonder and beauty lie under our feet and all around us. They are discovered in tunnels in the ground, the heart of flowers, the hollows of trees, freshwater ponds, seaweed jungles between tides, and even drops of water. Life in these hidden worlds is more startling in reality than anything we can imagine. How could this earth of ours, which is only a speck in the heavens, have so much variety of life, so many curious and exciting creatures?